So hello everyone, thanks for tuning in. My name is Brian Duffy. I'm the CEO of the Watchsell Switzerland Group. Delighted to be joined by our expert, our man who really knows everything there is to know about watch product, and that's Mark Tolson, our head of merchandising and buying. Thanks for joining me, Mark.
Hi Brian, how are you doing?
Good. What we're going to do here, we have a series of interviews that we're going to do, just telling you all out there what we're seeing from our great brand partners as part of the program of new product introduction. It's called Watching Wonders. What it should have been was us all together in Geneva, seeing all these products and getting to feel them and touch them and try them on and understand them, but of course with all of what's still going on in the world, that was cancelled once again. But what the brands have done very effectively is put together these remote presentations very professionally, and creating a really exciting time for you and your team, Mark.
Yeah, indeed, Brian. I mean, the virtual presentations are not as exciting as seeing the physical product and going to Switzerland, but it's as you say, it's a way of the world, and you're able to cover a lot of things really rather quickly, which is good.
Yeah, that is great, and I think everybody's got more and more comfortable with it, and more professional. We had a very Cartier presentation yesterday, very slick, very stylish. And I thought well done, and of course, most importantly, some great product to look at. And just about Cartier, I'm sure everybody knows what a wonderful brand there is. A brand that's got a great history, in jewellery, but also a really great history when it comes to wristwatches. In fact, they were pioneers.
Yeah, I mean, they were indeed. I mean, started in 1847 and sort of known as the king of the jeweler of kings and the king of jewelers. But as you say, they pioneered wristwatches for men at the start of the 20th century with their collaborations or their work for Alberto Santos Dumont.
Yeah, and at Watchsell Switzerland, we've been retailing Cartier watches pretty much throughout the 20th century and have had a really great growing business. Particularly in recent years. I personally would give great credit to Cyril Vignal, who's come back to Cartier, back to Europe at least, and Cartier is the CEO of the group. And since then, I think the new product introductions that we've had, the focus on icons has been really fantastic for the brand.
Yeah, that's very true. That's very, very true indeed. And we've seen, you say, the focus on icons over the last several years with the reinvigoration of the Santos. Was it 2018? I think it was, and the Pasha last year as well. So there are further developments in those two collections this year.
Yep, and they were great relaunches, taking all that tremendous heritage and style and making it into more contemporary product, responding to the market, and great marketing, great product, and great execution, and it's really been very, very good business for us. So we were delighted to see everything that was presented yesterday. So as you say, we had the Santos a couple of years ago. We had the Pasha last year, which is really cool. Some more developments on them both. But then a real focus on the most popular family, Cartier, here in the UK, and that's the Tonk.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, it's sounding like a native there. Yeah, I mean, I suppose as many people know, the inspiration for the Tank came from the tanks that were on the Western Front in 1917. That sort of iconic rectangular shape. So that's where the Tank comes from. And as you say, it's I think the Tank Solo is over 40% of our sales. So it's a huge popular line. Always performed really well.
Yeah, and we have a great update of that to talk through. I must mention that the Tank was the first really expensive item I bought for my wife, and she still loves wearing it today. Right. Bicolor. I realise they're beautiful, and everything about Cartier is very, very distinct and very, very iconic, as we know. So let's talk through some of the products that we heard about yesterday that focus on the tank and Pasha Santos, and then finally the Cloche de Cartier that we saw. But let's talk about the tank first of all. What did we see?
Okay, so well, as we said, it's the iconic rectangular shape, and you know, I suppose brands are really cautious about how they update icons, and they've done some great things here. So I mean, we can talk about the regular pieces in a moment, but they've got some vintage dial options, which I think we all found really interesting. They have quartz movements, and they're about £2,360. And they're in a blue, green, and burgundy dial options with no numerals on the dial, and straps match the dial colours. And we see a lot of colours coming through over the recent years, and so it kind of plays to that. But they look really kind of vintage and terrific looking watches.
Yeah, no, I thought they were gorgeous, and I think they're going to be hugely popular.
Mm-hmm.
And as you see, the trend towards different colours and matching dials and straps is clearly out there, and this is really beautiful executions of all that. And I was amazed to hear the battery life on the quartz.
Yeah, it's eight years. What they call it, high autonomy. So I suppose you know, you don't really need to involve battery changes, etc. I think we saw it last year in the Santos Dumont that came out in quartz. They were about 6 years. Well, this is 8-year battery life, which is wonderful. And that battery finds its way into the classic white dial with the Roman numerals that everybody knows, that the sort of regular tank solar that we sell absolutely loads of. That's got this movement in it, and some slight upgrades to the bracelet, etc. And that was one of the key lines, I guess. In 2 sizes on strap or bracelet, and the pricing is about £2,140 or £2,250 for the small or larger size, and then about another £300 puts it on a bracelet. And it's a great watch. I mean, it's a wonderful Cartier. It's a wonderful Cartier watch. Comes in the great red box. It's relatively democratically priced, we might say.
Yes. Yeah. And they also, I think, again, on trend and responding to it, the consumers are interested today. Some environmental sensitive developments. The new bracelet that they have are strapped rather with recycled materials, which came from what again?
Well, yeah, I mean, this was it. This is the pretty innovative stuff, really. So the strap is made from apple pulp and cotton, and it's sort of melded together with polyurethane. So it's no animals were harmed in the manufacture of this strap. And the other key point about it, I think its carbon footprint is 6 times smaller than a conventional strap. So they take the apple pulp from farmers in Germany and in Europe, and I say they meld it with polyurethane and cotton and produce this very eco-friendly, sustainable strap, which is quite something. And it comes on a deployant buckle, the folding buckle, which, if I recall correctly, that was a Cartier invention way back when. So the strap is amazing, and the movement's pretty incredible too.
Yeah, and I think a really good thing for them to do alongside this other development, the photovoltaic movement.
Yeah. So, we've seen solar powered watches before, mostly from Japanese manufacturers like Citizen and Seiko. I think it's the first for Cartier, for Richemont. As you say, it's called photovoltaic. There are photoelectric cells, I guess, sitting under the Roman numerals on the dial of the watch. So it's a classic white dial with the Roman numerals on it. Under this sort of perforated dial, you have these photovoltaic cells, and it powers the solar beat movement, I believe they're calling it. It's it's pretty incredible stuff. So you once it's fully charged and it's charged by sunlight or electric light, you can then keep it in darkness for about a month, and then it will go into a hibernation mode. And then when you get it back into the light again, it will restart up. But I mean, one of the key things is solar powered watches do have a battery, because it's got to have somewhere to store the energy. And that will probably last around 16 years, a minimum of 16 years. So you may have to change that after about 16 years. But I think the combination of that sort of solar power and the strap make it, I don't know, it's maybe pointing the way forward for a certain type of electronic watch. It's clever stuff.
Yeah, and you're getting a beautiful Cartier product, great style, immediately recognizable, but totally practical and environmentally correct as well. So a lot of ticks in that box. But I mean, overall, the Tank collection, fabulous for our market in the UK. Our consumers love Tank. Yeah. Different sizes as well, we should mention. And Cartier, clearly it has a big appeal to a female audience, but has an increasing appeal to a male audience. Yeah. And the different sizing options that are there. I always think it's interesting. Was it JFK that got inaugurated wearing a Cartier, if I remember correctly?
I think he probably did. Yeah. That's true enough. Yeah. So I mean, they were great. And I think another thing, actually, just thinking about it, there's a bit of a theme running through Cartier's new lines this year is diamond setting on steel. So in the regular quartz version, you have the two sizes again with some diamonds down the case, and I think they come in around 5,000 for the smaller size and just under 6 for the larger size. So again, it's Cartier doing diamond setting, which is one of the great things that they're famous for. Yeah, so, some really great things there from the Tank.
Yes, very, very, very attractive, very Cartier, very well positioned from a price standpoint, covering a huge price range. You get up to including the Tank Louis Cartier, the 18-karat gold with the blue dial. I thought was particularly gorgeous.
Yeah, they were one shots, I think, if I recall correctly. You'd got the two-tone blue or the burgundy and champagne dial options. Yep. 18-karat, they were manual wind and £11,400. And I think one of the other things that's probably worth mentioning is that I think Europe is getting the launch of the Tanks in June, I think, where I think the rest of the world is waiting till September. So the UK is part of Europe, or that part of Europe that we're still in geographically. We get the launch in the summer, which will be wonderful. Yeah,
great. But it just shows you how important this market is for Cartier, which is great. So then moving on, we had some great expansion introductions within the Santos range, which has been a big success.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah, I mean, it picked up on the diamond setting theme again. So the steel 35mm with either the classic silver dial or with the blue dial, which proved really popular in a 41mm size. They are now getting the diamond setting on the kind of the normally polished bezel that sort of sits around the square dial. Looks really great. I think the silver is due out in June, and the blue dial is due out in November, and they're coming in around £10,400 for the automatic, and they look terrific. And we know that line sells really, really well, so I think the diamonds are going to literally add some sparkle to the whole thing.
Yeah, and the introduction of Arabic numerals, which is unusual but very cool on a Cartier.
That was interesting. Those were the on the sort of last year we had the Santos Dumonts, the limited edition ones, which celebrated Alberto Santos's flying machines from the early century. And this year they've come up with a couple more. There's one manual wind steel and rose gold for I think £7,200. It celebrates the Dragonfly, which was Santos Dumont's lightest flying machine. It weighed 56 kilograms, so quite a bit lighter than me. But they're making 500 of those, and as you say, it's got the it's got the Arabic numerals rather than the usual Roman. But Cartier, as you say, they have form for that. They used Arabics on the Cintre models from the early part of the 20th century. I think Fred Astaire was famously a Cintre wearer with the Arabic numerals, so they have that legitimacy for that numerical thing.
I think it's just really cool to see brands do something slightly unusual, but they execute it in a way that is unmistakably still them from a handwriting standpoint.
Exactly.
I thought they looked great.
Yeah.
And then Ballon Bleu, interesting development, introduction of a new size and 40mm.
Yeah, I was sort of looking back, and the Ballon Bleu has it was launched in like 14 years ago, 2007, I think it was, which is the same year as the first iPhone. So I don't know whether that's a benchmark for anything, but the Ballon Bleu has got this beautiful sort of organically round sort of pebble shape, and again it's popular with our clients. It's maybe like 15% of our sales, and it currently comes in 28, 33, 36 and 42 millimeter cases, so there's quite a wide spread there. But that sort of 6 millimeter gap between 36 and 42, they're now slotting in the 40 mil, which is a good size.
Yeah. No, I think it's a great size, and they described it as unisex, and I think obviously it's not a big bezel on it, so you're really getting a significant sized face, effectively, the dial.
Yeah.
And 40 millimeter is a very popular size when you're looking just purely at the face. And I thought, and they showed us it yesterday on male and female models, and I think in both cases looks different, but it looks really cool in the big cases, and very much in line with the trend towards women wearing much bigger watches than was traditionally the case.
Yeah, that's true, and it's just over £5,000 on a strap, or sort of 5.5 on a bracelet, which again is you consider it is a beautiful watch. Yeah.
And interchangeable strap and bracelet.
It has that option now. There's like quick switch system they have. Unlike some of the other Cartier models, you don't actually get the spare strap with it. But yeah, it's got that functionality, so you can quickly kind of change the look, really.
And what was my favourite from everything that was presented yesterday was a couple of these new introductions on the Pasha, particularly the chronograph.
Yeah, I mean the Pasha, it's got a great pedigree. I mean, it was a Gerald Genta design from 1985, relaunched last year quite successfully in two sizes, 35 and I think 40 mil. And we've seen line extensions this year. So there's now a 30 mil quartz version. So you get that look, the iconic Pasha look with the crown protector and the lovely round case and the dial, etc., with the, again, sort of Arabic numerals. And that's not due out till February next year, but it's relatively inexpensive at 4,350. But I guess the big moves, Brian, were the steel and gold versions and the chronograph. But I mean, the steel and gold was great. In 30 and 35 mil, it's steel and rose gold, and then the 41 mil was steel and yellow gold. So they've made that choice on metal type, and the size as well. And you get the alternate center links in the bracelet between the steel and then the precious metal, steel and precious metal. So that's good. Bezel, that lovely round bezel is also in the either the yellow or the rose gold, depending. And I think we see quite an increase in bicolor watches for ladies, particularly. It's that's sort of been a growing trend over the last sort of several years, and I think it's over 40% of the ladies' size watches, the women's watches that we sell, are now bicolor, and it's an increasing trend in gents. Not to the extent, but again, you can see the uptick of people buying bicolor watches. Yeah.
And once again, Cartier kind of leading that trend, and I mean 11 new options in Pasha, so it's really developing into a really significant range. And And like I said, the chronograph, I just thought looked it just so technical looking, the whole product with the crown and everything that's going on, and the bezel, then to have a chronograph movement in the middle of it. Thought it looked spectacular.
I mean, it really did. It's coming out in July, as is the Bicolours, and it's £8,200. It's Cartier's in-house automatic movement. It's got what you'd expect from a kind of diver's stroke chronograph watch. It's got a unidirectional bezel with a kind of diver's scale on it. And as you said, Brian, the blue stones on the chronograph pushers and the crown, they kind of match the blued steel hands on the chronograph dials. It's a lovely 369 subdial chronograph. It's a great balance. It's got a date at 4:30, and it's on that lovely silver dial. I think it just looks great, and the blue really pops as a colour against the dial and the polished case. Amazing.
Yeah, great. And I think this could well be the year of Pasha. Obviously, it was introduced last year, and all of what the world's been through over the last year, it maybe hasn't got the opportunity of getting out there to as many people. But when you see the range now, how cool it all looks in the marketing, it's going to go behind it. I think it could be a great year for Pasha. And then finally, what we saw really interesting, something that'll get a lot of press coverage for sure, is the cloche.
Yes, yeah, which we're reliably informed means bell. I haven't checked that, but we'll take that as written from the people who know. But yeah, it's part of Cartier's Privé collection, which is a sort of homage to all their retro, their vintage pieces. So it was a style of watch that came out in I think the 1920s or 30s. And if you, it's difficult to kind of describe it, but the 9 o'clock side of the case is completely flat. And it's almost like a D shape, actually, isn't it? As you said,
yes.
With the crown at 3 o'clock. But the sort of eccentric feature is that where the 12 o'clock position is normally at the top of the watch, it's 90 degrees. So it's effectively at the 3 o'clock position, which is a unique and a unique styling feature, and maybe a little bit challenging to tell the time with until you get used to it. But they looked beautiful.
Yeah.
You had some skeletonized case versions with that lovely architecture of the movement, and they were limited editions of 50s, I think, in two metal types and a diamond set case, and I think they were starting around £50,000 and up. And then there were some regular versions with a normal dial. I think in platinum, rose gold and white gold, and they looked amazing, and they were a limited series of 100, starting around 20k. I mean, it's typical Cartier, and as you say, that it's one for the collectors, but they're really beautifully executed.
Yeah, no, totally. One for the collectors, one for the press, and they're certainly going to be very, very much talked about. So a lot of these new products will start delivering from next month, from May onwards. I think it's going to be a great year all round. Can't wait to get our stores opened later this month on the 12th of April, and we'll be working to get as much of this great product as we can and getting it out to our consumers. But really great collection from Cartier, and thanks for educating us all on it, Mark.